And welcome in to the second episode of the 2022 season of NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network, where we talk newsmakers and news shakers each and every week in grassroots short track racing. Welcome to the Concord studios here in Concord, North Carolina. I'm Chris Wilner, joined by my co-host as always, Mr. Kyle Rickey from Killingly, Connecticut. Kyle, still in February, but you said it's a little bit of a heat wave. 26 degrees today. That's got to feel nice.
Yeah, almost out of the freezing mark. I think we've been under 32 now for the better part of 2 weeks, and saw the sun a little bit, melted a little bit of that 3 feet of snow we got a couple weeks ago. So we're inching ever so slowly towards spring. We're getting there one day at a time.
Well, the icebreaker challenge happened at Florence Motor Speedway, and certainly no ice here to talk about in Concord, North Carolina, as it was a balmy 51 degrees today. But we had a big weekend of racing, and it was kind of, like the title mentioned, icebreaker really kind of broke the ice as far as the 2022 season's really concerned from our short track racing perspective. And Kyle, familiar name, was back in the lineup and whooped on him there down in South Carolina, Mr. Josh Berry. How about that, picking up a big win this weekend?
Yeah, former NASCAR national short track champion, picking up the 150 lap main event at the Florence Motor Speedway, Timminsville, South Carolina. Great race live on Flow Racing. Took the lead just past the halfway mark from pole sitter Zach Miracle, and he never looked back. Won by quite a distance, actually, over Miracle. Kay Brown, Trent Barnes, and Brandon Pierce rounded out the top five. Couple notables in the second half of the field. Thad Moffitt finished in the 20th spot. Jeb Burton in the field had some early race issues, though, finishing 22nd. And Annabeth Barnes-Crum, who has been on this show in the past, finished in the 23rd position. Stacked field, about 30 cars took the green flag. So good to see what looked to be a very successful opening event for Florence for 2022.
Absolutely. We talked about it too, last week, especially the car counts on the rise as well. So kicking off in a big way down there at Florence for sure. And you mentioned all the big names that were in the field. And it's going to be a kind of reoccurring theme, I think, in a lot of these races early on, is you're going to see a lot of these car counts just littered with stars as we kick off the season.
Yeah, and that's a thing that we like to spotlight here on the show. We are those stars, stars like Josh Berry, who I feel like we've been talking to for the better part of a decade here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, and that star will be shining in the national spotlight this year as he's going to hang up the short track helmet here for a majority of this season and concentrate on the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And there's a lot of those short track stars out there that are hoping to take that same path to NASCAR's top three series.
Yeah, and the next person is going to be the seat that Josh Berry will leave open, and that's going to be Carson Kvapil going to take over the full-time ride of that number 8 Junior Motorsports ride for 2022. So we'll get to see what he can do. Florence does open their regular weekly series on March 5th, so that's coming up here in just a little bit less than a month. We also had a pretty big race out in Irwindale, California, and no, it was not the Clash, although all the talk was about the Clash there with the NASCAR Cup Series, but it was the SRL Southwest Tour, the All-Star Showdown, paying, what was it, $15,000 to win, I believe, which was pretty, or 25,000. That's right, which is a lot more money than I will ever have in my bank account. But Preston Peltier and Derek Thorne went toe to toe the entire race long until Preston admitted post race he had a little bit of a rookie mistake getting up into the fence there just past the halfway point, and Derek Thorne was able to capture his second All-Star Showdown for Byron Campbell Motorsports. An incredible turnout there, as well as a lot of the short track racing out in the West Coast really gaining some traction here in 2022.
It's been strong, and you just mentioned two of the big names, Derek and Preston Peltier. Both have found success for years on the West Coast. Both have found success already this year on the West Coast. Obviously, the Chili Willy just a couple of weeks ago at Tucson Raceway Park to open up the West Coast season, and then Preston picked up the win there. So good to see short track racing thriving in that part of the country as well. In fact, it's picked up steam, and we see it snowball into the ARCA Menards West Series. Car counts last year for ARCA West have been great, and it's a lot of these short track teams that find success at the West Coast's greatest short tracks like Irwindale Speedway, like Tucson Raceway Park, and find success on the regional level of NASCAR and ARCA.
And rounding out the top three there to put the bow on the Irwindale All-Star Showdown was Owen Riddle finishing in second, and third was Logan Bearden. Now, we mentioned SRL Southwest Series, but SRL is about to have a new era with a national series getting started here. Kyle, tell us a little bit more about that.
Not really the Southwest Series, and there's still a lot of questions, but it kicks off this weekend in Florida. Imagine that. The center of short track racing. Hopefully the weather improves there, because I know the sprint car teams have had their issues with Mother Nature.
Yes.
Hopefully Smyrna doesn't have any issues, and hopefully Citrus County Speedway doesn't have any issues this Saturday as they host the SRL Super Late Model Tour. 125 laps, $15,000 to win on this quarter-mile oval, and a good first time effort as far as the car count is concerned. 25 cars already entered. Big names: Ty Majeski, Jake Garcia, Derek Griffith rather, Bubba Pollard, Patrick Scarpoli. This is going to be the first of, right now, 3 races. They're looking to expand that schedule as the season and the summer goes on. Berlin Raceway, I believe, is going to have a couple of events on their lineup as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out come Saturday down in Florida.
And I like the fact that they sprinkle in some of the local talent, too, as well. You have Citrus track champion Jared Irvin, Bill Bigley, senior memorial winner Michael Atwell is amongst some of the drivers. So it's kind of like, their version, almost a little bit of the SRX. We're going to have the local talent and the regional talent taking on some of these guys that are going to make the trip from the West Coast. So I'm excited to see kind of who stands atop of the mountain here at the end of that.
It's going to be fun to watch on a Saturday night, busy Saturday night of short track racing down there in Florida, Citrus County for SRL Super Late Models. And then another race that we're going to talk about a little later, the NASCAR Whelen Modified. We're going to kick off their season Saturday night.
Well, it's time to visit with our guest here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, and coming up, it's going to be Josh Berry. We mentioned he captured the Icebreaker Challenge win here just this past weekend, gearing up for a busy slate in 2022 that also includes his debut full-time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Josh Berry when we come back. And joining us now here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, the winner of the Icebreaker Challenge, the 7th annual edition, Mr. Josh Berry, gearing up for what is going to be his first full-time Xfinity season here coming up in 2022. But Josh, first off, congratulations. A big win down there at Florence Motor Speedway. Kind of knocked the rust off, get back into racing season. How good was that win for you and your team just to kind of get 2022 started on the right foot?
Yeah, no, it was really cool. It's always fun to go racing with the late model guys, and that whole group's been really special to me over the years. And obviously I'm turning that program over to Carson Quaffle going forward. So we wanted to kind of get a race in right before the Xfinity started and have some fun. So we built a new car over the winter. I helped those guys. Those guys did most of the work on it. I can't really take much credit. I've been pretty busy, but they did most of the work on it and wanted to go shake it down and run it. And like I said, it was good, and just had a good time.
150 laps, started up front. Didn't take the lead, though, until, just past halfway, I believe. The car changed much over the course of the day and of that race?
Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, our car stayed pretty good for the longevity of the race. I think, Florence is tough. It's pretty tough on tire wear. Always kind of got to keep that mindful. You got to save, and it's constantly a balance of managing your tires versus keeping track position and keeping yourself in contention. And those races can be circumstantial with a caution flag here or there. Like I said, we got the lead with about 50 to go, I think, and it ran green the rest of the way. So that's like the perfect case scenario for us. But it was our day, and like I said, we've had a lot of great runs in the late model, and it was just another one for us. It was really fun.
The last time you won at Florence, I believe you won your first Xfinity race at Martinsville, I think the next week. We're about to go Daytona here in 2 weeks. So you feeling that good mojo here of another Florence win, maybe leading to another Xfinity win, this time at Daytona?
Man, that would be awesome. I mean, we all know how Daytona can be, but it was. Jacqueline mentioned that after the race, and I kind of forgot. It was kind of. I remember, obviously, I remember going there and racing, winning, and then it was a little bit emotional, almost thinking about it. How much has changed for me since that moment at Martinsville, and how big it was. Just how that big that day was. So it made me think about that. And yeah, I mean, sure, it'd be amazing to get a Daytona and get a win, but I think super speedway racing is something that I have very minimal experience in. So we're just going to try to stay out of trouble and make it to the end and see what we can do.
We'll talk more about that in a moment. But you mentioned a moment ago, you kind of I guess passing the torch of your late model here, following this race win. Here on the show, we talk a lot about obviously short track racing in the South. As somebody that's about to go national full time in NASCAR's Super 2 Series, where do you look and how do you look at the state of short track racing right now in the South? I mean, there's a lot going on, obviously, North Carolina, South Carolina. Florida's going to be a hotbed for short track racing over these next 10 days. But when you look at the big picture, how's the health of short track racing, asphalt short track racing in that region of the country?
Yeah, I think it's pretty well. There's obviously been a lot going on with the COVID and that whole issue, and then now a tire shortage, supply shortage, the tire deal kind of. I mean, it's been difficult to work around, but I don't know. It's kind of a balance there with the tires. I think that it discourages some people from racing, but it encourages other people maybe lower budget to race because they feel like it's such a financial disadvantage not having multiple sets of tires to practice on. So overall, I think it's pretty good. I mean, you look at the prestigious races, the big races. They drag a lot of cars in to the Snowball Derby, All American 400, Martinsville late model stock race. So Florence, like I said, we had over 30 cars this weekend, and that's a really good start. And just people want to race, they just maybe can't race quite as much as they could years ago. But the big races seem to be dragging the cars.
How important is it going to be for you now that you take this big step in your career to still come back and run these super late model and late model stock races, just because this is your identity? This is what, your career is based off of. So as you kind of make, the steps up toward the ladder, how big is this going to be for you this year? I don't know what your full schedule is going to look like, but are you going to be able to come back and run as many races as you'd like to and kind of sprinkle those in your Xfinity schedule?
Yeah, I would like to. I think you touched on a really good point there, and obviously that's my background, and that's the kind of the opportunities that I've had racing over the last 8 or 10 years. And you take somebody like Kyle Larson, for example. I mean, he's a Cup Series champion. That's what everybody's basing everything they do off of, and the guy races a lot. So I think you're going to see a lot of us guys find more opportunities to race, whatever that may be. I mean, obviously, I don't think I'm prepared to go race at the Chili Bowl, but I have some connections to race a late model stock and maybe a super late model every now and then, and I think I'm going to try to use that. I think Kyle set the bar that obviously racing as much as you can is definitely not a bad thing. So I think a lot of us are going to base on that. So I'm going to keep that in mind throughout the summer. Obviously, I have a 2-year-old at home and kind of balancing that, but I definitely like to race the late model. I don't know if we said 5 times for this year, I think that'd be pretty attainable.
Chris mentioned a moment ago, Daytona just over a week away to begin your full-time assault in the NASCAR Xfinity Series with your motorsports. You ran 2 super speedways a year ago for a driver that grew up on the short tracks and is a short track national champion at these bull rings around the Southeast. What's it like getting into that pack for the first time, and what kind of adjustments do you need to make as a driver, not just physically but mentally as well, for those 150-mile and 300-mile races at 200 miles an hour?
Yeah, so it was, obviously going into Daytona last February, I had absolutely no experience at all in that, and I relied on Dale a lot beforehand. We met, we spent some time together, went over a lot of different things, but still, really, until I got there and experienced it, I really wasn't, too sure of how it was all going to play out. Feel like I learned a lot at Daytona, and then end up getting to run Talladega twice. I ran it in the 8 and then again in the 1. And it was amazing the difference between the two tracks. I mean, on paper, they look so similar. It was amazing how different they raced. But it's interesting now. I've been working really hard in the off season, working with Josh Wise and his group. A bunch of our Chevrolet drivers are a part of that, and been working really hard, doing a lot of preparation there. And now I'm kind of to the point now where we're starting to do more, less fitness stuff and more race prep. And it's interesting now to have the opportunity to go back and watch races that I competed in and what I can do different or better. And speedway racing is a good example of that. I think, I look back on February and realize, man, I did pretty good, but if I'd have made this move or this move, then it might have been a different story. So hopefully we can do a better job of that in a couple weeks.
You mentioned preparation. how big is it for you to be under the same roof in the JRM camp and just go from one department to the next, from the short track department to the Xfinity department? I mean, that's got to feel more comfortable than, say, being a fish out of water in a completely new team, a new manufacturer. So how big is this for you in your preparation for your first full season to have the experience with the Junior Motorsports camp already under your belt?
Yeah, no, it's really big. Obviously, I owe a ton to Dale and Kelly and everybody at JRM for all the opportunities they give me, not just this one. I mean, for racing with me for 10 years. And, it's exciting. It's really exciting. I think it's really exciting for a lot of people in the company. I think that a lot of them have seen me race late models and maybe not really even not know much about me and didn't really know. Maybe I don't know what I was capable of. I'm not sure. You can just tell that how excited people are because they've known me. I've been right here with them. I worked here, worked for the late model team. Obviously late model race had a lot of success, but just the excitement is you can feel it around here. I think everybody's really pumped up for the season. Obviously got with Sam and Noah and Justin all coming back. I think we're set up to have a really good year.
And my final question for you is about the confidence. Where's the confidence level at going into this season after the success you had last year running a part-time schedule?
Yeah, I think racing last year winning Las Vegas was really big for me. I think Martinsville was life-changing. But the races after that were more of a telling of where I was at in terms of being prepared to race an Xfinity car full-time. And going to some of those different tracks and contending for the wins, even though we didn't get the win, I think that it opened up, gave us a lot of confidence. And then hopping in the one car at the end of the year, knowing that I had a full-time opportunity for this year already, I think it kind of just was a different racer. And, that was really, I gained a lot of confidence running their car and winning Las Vegas was obviously a big part of that. So I think for me, the confidence, I feel like we have a great opportunity. I think that, our goal should be to make it to Phoenix and be a part of the championship four. I think if you can do that, then really anything that can happen when you get there. So for me over the winter, my focus is just to be trying to continue, just work hard to prepare for road course racing, super speedway racing, a couple of the tracks that I haven't been to. And then, the tracks that I've already raced, just to try to not change too much and just kind of approach it like I did last year. And like I said, we got a bunch of great teams here, a bunch of great people at Junior Motorsports. And I think, like I said, we're all excited to get going.
And finally, for me, you mentioned comfortability and your preparation, but also being back with Mike Bumgarner. That's got to be huge for you, part of your Vegas win. What's your relationship been like with him, not only coming off last year's success, but obviously now taking on the full schedule with him?
Yeah, no, I'm really excited for that. Mike is kind of, I think our paths are a little similar. Like I said, we've been at JRM for a long time. He's worked at several different roles, kind of as I have, and he was a crew chief and then kind of more of a manager. But either way, he's been here a long time and is very well respected within the company. And he's seen me come in and out racing late models for years, and we know each other really well. And I'm super excited to get racing those guys. They're really pumped up for this year, and I know that they're going to work really hard and try to, like I said, we're going to try to win some races, and hopefully we're able to accomplish that.
All right, well, thank you so much, Josh Berry, joining us once again here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Best of luck to you. Well, first of all, congratulations again on the icebreaker win, but best of luck to you as you tackle your first full-time Xfinity season. We can't wait to see you down the road.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Once again, thank you, Josh Berry, for joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Always a pleasure to interview him, and obviously we wish him the best of luck coming up this season. Now, we do have a few drivers that made some news here in the short track world, Kyle, Rickey. One of those, Derek Griffith, getting a big-time opportunity, kind of like a Josh Berry, going to get his feet wet in the NASCAR Xfinity Series here in 2022 for Sam Hunt Racing. I believe one of his races is going to be his hometown racetrack in New Hampshire, but it's all going to kick off starting in April as well at Martinsville. So another big-time opportunity for a short track racer like Derek.
Yeah, Derek has always run well up here in the Northeast, and he's taking his talent, as we've seen the last several seasons, across the country and especially down south. Picking up the last couple of titles down at the New Smyrna Speedway in the super late models. Has found success in the pro late models. He's doing double duty again over the next week and a half down there as well. And one of the ladies, Chris, making some news, Brittany Zamora, Rackley War Racing has announced that she has joined the team, I guess rejoined the team after running a pair of races with them 2 years ago. She'll run the Show Me the Money title at the Montgomery Motor Speedway in Alabama this season. It's a 6-race series that kicks off on March 5th with the Alabama 200. She made 2 starts with them back a couple of years ago, finished 6th and 11th, and last year became the first female to win at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, a track that has been in the news so much lately in a late model stock car. So looking forward to seeing what Brittany can do down there in Alabama over the course of the next several months, beginning next month in March.
Absolutely. So a couple names to keep your eyes on as well as we kick off the 2022 season here in the coming months. And speaking of big-time news and big-time events coming up, it is finally the 55th anniversary or annual World Series of Asphalt at New Smyrna Speedway down in Florida, getting ready to kick off here later on this week. And I guess the highlight, obviously, it's a week long of just action-packed short track racing from left to right. But it all really kicks off, in my opinion, on Saturday with the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour kicking off their 2022 season down there with the New Smyrna Visitors Bureau 200 and defending series champion Justin Bonsinger will be one to watch, as well as a stout field, Kyle.
Yeah, it's going to be a great field. About 25 cars on the entry list right now as we record this. You have Ryan Priest that will be there running for the Bowler Racing family, the number 3 legendary number 3 car, called Old Blue. It's been on the tour since before the tour in the 1960s. Matt Hirschman has entered for the event. And this name I haven't heard in a while, especially in a modified. Joey Coulter. Remember Joey from the Old Children's Truck Series team? Found success in the truck. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for him in the National Series. He's finding success at the short track level, and he's entered in a modified for Saturday night's race. So it's going to be a big event for the modifieds, their first ever event at New Smyrna Speedway. Green flag set for 7:30 on Saturday night. Can't wait. And you mentioned highlight of the week. I feel like almost every night there's something special. You have the Richie Evans Memorial 100 at the end of the week for the modifieds. You have special events for the super late models during the course of the week. The ARCA Menards East Series will kick off their season early next week. So every night I feel like there's a special event for one of the divisions and competitions. A lot of modified racing, though, and that is something I love.
Absolutely, and you can catch it all week long on Flow Racing as part of their new grassroots initiative and bringing short track pavement racing to the platform and just really beefing up the coverage of grassroots racing. So super excited to get to watch all that. It'll be my first time checking out all the World Series of Asphalt action, so I certainly can't wait. Kyle, appreciate your time, my friend. Stay warm up there in Killingly, Connecticut, and have a great rest of your week.
I don't have to worry about it for one more week because then it's time to head south to Daytona International Speedway, just over a week away. In fact, 1 week away from Media Day. So can't wait to get down there and get started for 2022 on the road with MRN.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in to episode number 2 of NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. Enjoy the World Series of Asphalt this week. We'll recap it all coming up next week. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great night.